This whole journey, it all started with a t-shirt and a note from my 20-year-old niece. I was diagnosed early stage and I was in fight mode. I did my treatment, I did my surgeries, and I was having what I thought was a preventative surgery, and they found cancer. Considered metastatic, which is incurable. What do you do when you hear that? I shut down a little bit and closed myself off from a lot of people because I didn't need their help. I was strong. I can do this on my own. I grew up in a very faith-filled home, but I was a little stubborn, and a lot of times I thought I could do things on my own, and I had many moments where I would pull away, and the main time I pulled away was with the diagnosis of cancer. I started thinking, why me? Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve that? So I got mad and I pulled further and further away, and I did what I think a lot of people do as I turned my back. Even though I was angry, I kept going to a church, and it had become just something I was just doing, just going through the motions. And my niece came home for the summer. She said, I want to check out this church. They meet at Johnston Middle School, and we pulled up, and the first thing I noticed were these signs that said, "Welcome home." And I just remember the door opening and this smiley face, and then we walk in, and immediately we see Cliff, and he's holding out his hand and shaking my hand, and I'm like, wow, I have never experienced something like this in my entire church life. I became Aunt Sally that day. Then I walk in to worship, and it was so joyful. People raising their arms, and I felt this joy, and something just come alive in me that day. And I came back the next week, and I came back just off and on. I felt like I was a follower. I just had turned away, and I raised my hand. And from that day forward, everything has changed in my life. I still have cancer, but I have hope that I didn't have before. I'm not finished, but I've learned that it's okay not to be. I've learned that it's okay to lean on people, and it's okay to admit I need help. I knew of God, but I don't know that I ever really was in relationship with God. And what's helped me find freedom is trust. Ultimate trust that God has a plan for my life. Even though I was hesitant at the beginning to join a life group, I have joined 3. And one of the ones I'm taking part in is freedom. And I feel more alive today than I felt in a really long time. I was in management, but I never really thought about how I could use leadership to serve and to make a difference. And I kept hearing about this thing called Growth Track. Then we learned about the Dream Team, and I was excited about that. I have discovered that there are ways that I can use those gifts that God gave me to serve right here at Summit Creek. And I chose host team because I remember back to the day I came in that parking lot the first day. I felt such a calmness and a strong welcome, and that I belonged at Summit Creek. And now I'm trying to make other people feel like they belong. And if I can make someone feel the way that I felt the first day that I came to Summit Creek, and feel welcomed, and I get to shake their hands and show them into the auditorium and open that door for them like was done for me on the first day, then I'm truly making a difference. If you feel like you're going through something unimaginably scary, don't turn away from God. There is no one else that can lift you up like God can.